This episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/wickedtheory. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
You're listening to the Wicked Theory Podcast.
We're very happy to have you back, even for a short visit.
And here we go.
Broadcasting to you live from the walk-in closet in Walter's penthouse at the top of the Dark Tower. This is the Wicked Theory Podcast.
Bob Sweetie on the guitar, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, Cleveland. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the Wicked Theory Podcast. I am your host. My name is Bill Sweeney, and every week I get together, I bring some friends, and we talk about nerd stuff, pop culture, whatnot, movies, TV shows, stuff that we watch, stuff that we like, we might want to recommend, maybe not. How you like that for an opening? I got my buddy Jay.
Evening, motherfuckers.
I got my buddy Ed.
Cocksucker? Really?
I got my brother Bob on guitar.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
How's it going? So, Ed starts the show. That's a John Goodman quote.
Yes.
But maybe people haven't seen that movie yet, Ed.
It's from a movie that came out this weekend.
So, okay. That's a movie you and Jay both saw.
Yes, we'll talk about it later in the show.
I think it's called A Secret... No.
Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to discuss it and see how many American tacos it gets.
Oh, wait a
sorry,
minute.
forgot.
Wait.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Forgot.
Oops.
Yeah, see,
Oops.
let's see,
Sore spot. Ow.
see if we were able to handle all that techno music and neon.
In a movie from...
Well, I lived it. So,
Some of us, it was for some people, it was probably more of a traumatic experience than others. Episode 116, that's where we are. We're gonna do the news. We're gonna do that little movie review talk type stuff. DC TV report. If you're listening live, you're gonna get that. And
With a special retro pick.
special. How special is it?
It's special.
Okay, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening to this,
It's from a show that like people know about.
good. That's good. That's a good way to go with it, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
stuff that people probably like.
Palmer's calling me out. Palmer was calling me out during the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, "What's with these picks?"
Yeah,
I think I did too.
He wanted to start picking them instead, and I was like, "Excuse me."
Well, here's the thing with our buddy Palmer. If he thinks he can do it better, or he's got a good idea, he'll let you know.
This is
He
true.
definitely,
That's the truth.
he will definitely let you know. But that's what he's there for. So here we are. We're going to do some emails too. If you ever want to send in an email, dear listener, you can send them to podcast@wickedtheory.com. I just want to give a shout out to anybody who's listening, who's read the books Preacher or seen the show. And if you feel like, listen to us talk about it and give away book spoilers, we got another show we do, Preacher versus Preacher, Preacher versus Preacher, Preacher vs. Preacher, I should be.
Yeah.
Preach vs. Preach.
That's the Twitter handle.
Right?
Yep. Go check it out.
Yep.
Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
Stuff's going on.
Stuff's going on.
Yeah, a lot of drama on that one.
Yeah. There's
And
something.
drama on the show, too.
There's something. And I don't know. Jay smacking his lips.
Bill, when was the last time we checked? Do you know what our Patreon's up to? What our monthly contribution is?
Whoa.
I'm asking.
Fucking talking about money on the air?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I know where it's at.
What? Anyone goes to the site, they can see it,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just teasing, but I know what it's at.
Okay.
There you go.
I get the feeling that I was trying to pay for a haircut on the Patreon.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want to
And it
submit?
came
Do you
up a
want
little light.
Do you have some receipts you want to submit to? You want me to
No,
validate you?
he went with the company account.
Yeah, you want
No,
to.
I'm just-
With the
we
card,
don't-
and the card was light.
I'm asking, how long has it
We
been
don't
since
validate parking.
How long
he's trying to pay for meals using the petty cash fund.
That's what it is.
I'm not asking
Fuck
for
that.
I'm not
That's
asking for this for
change.
myself.
That's
I'm just
bullshit.
wondering, how long has that level stayed where it's at?
got
How
some-
long has it been since it went up?
I got some change. You can have. No, I need this for the bus. You can have. I keep the quarters. You can have all the
Oh,
other change.
okay.
It's been there for a little while. It's been at $62. That's our Patreon account. Are you segueing into something specific or?
No, I just think I don't think we talk enough about Patreon.
We
and the kind
haven't
of
in a while.
services that we offer through Patreon.
Well, it's true. That's true. I don't probably cover it enough or remind people that, if you miss the after shows that we do them live. But if you miss them, you want to catch them.
Yeah.
It's part of the Patreon support that you can help us out for $1 a month.
Yeah.
For price of a cup of coffee, depending on where you buy it.
Right. And that comes with a monthly special episode.
At $1, you get the after show.
You get the after show.
You get the after show.
Right.
So it's not available. That's not available anywhere else except live. And if you miss it, and so you can check those out.
Yeah, and that's where we really cut loose.
That's where we cut a little bit more loose. We kind of riff a little bit looser.
You might accidentally get me talking about politics for some stupid reason.
Well,
that
that's
happened
not
once and never again.
Yeah.
But
That's
you
not
can find it there.
and that's not why we put the rule in place. But
No.
we learned a lesson that day of why that rule is in place. But that's where that's housed. The after shows, they live on in infamy. I remember not that long ago, actually, Jay said to me something, and he was like, yeah, because Jay does some re-listening on the regular show, and he had said something to me about, like, some moment or whatever, and I was in my head, I was like, oh, that's an after show. You're not going to find that, Yeah. Well, that's tucked away now, but for $1. And then if you want to come in, at $3, you want to support us a little bit more, there is a monthly episode that we do that's just only exclusive to that, to the Patreon. And, that varies sometimes. Sometimes it's, very considered, and we try and deliver something good and special. And we have a few things planned. But sometimes the question is like, oh, my God, like, do we do a really cool thing over there? Or should we be doing it over here? And
I'm over here now.
No, tell the truth. Sometimes it's like, oh, shit, and we drop the crack pipes. And when you turn the microphones on,
as far as why they don't come out on time, yeah.
And,
there's that too, right? Yes.
But there's old goofies that you know.
Crack pipes.
Stop
is a metaphor.
talking. I don't want everybody to know I smoke crack. That's a secret.
I'm letting people know it's a metaphor.
Smoke crack, don't you?
But I'm being stepped on trying to
Don't you
explain.
smoke crack?
I think we all want to make it very clear right now
It
that
just sounds like we smoke crack.
that William Sweeney does not smoke
All
crack.
right, now you've gone too far.
It kills your brain cells. It kills your brain cells.
Nobody told you could call me that.
That was my best Joe Clark.
Yeah, that's great. I'm stuck on a thing.
Well, he lives in Newark. He knows Joe.
Come on, William, let's go.
See, can't even do that bit.
Please get past it, guys.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, this started as a nice little thing about Patreon and turned into whatever this is now.
It's Ed's fault.
I'm sorry.
It's not anybody's fault, really. I'm just saying. It just, it's like everything else around here. It just fucking devolves.
We'll just blame Ed because he's going to apologize for it, and then we move on. That's all.
Is that the case?
That's how we work.
Is that the case?
I do apologize. I
There you see?
All right,
I
then
did
let's move
not
on.
realize there was a nerve there.
No. Well,
Now, William, talk to me.
Now,
motherfucker.
see,
This motherfucker.
here's the thing.
There's two kinds of guys in the world, right?
Yes.
There's guys that are like, I got hurt. Where? Right here. Oh, yeah, it looks nasty. And there's guys that go, I got hurt. Where? Right here. Poke. You know what I mean? Poke. Stick my finger in that wound. Dig around in there.
William is a good
They
name.
want to hear the squishing sound.
What are you, my mom?
It's a good. I'm saying it's a good name. It could be worse. It could be Billiam.
You know? And then I got see now. That's why there's a doc, and we should go by the doc because now Thomas K in the chat room is like, "Where's the roast?" You know, and it's like,
Willie! Willie!
now we have a fucking problem. Now we have a fucking problem. Fuck Patreon. Do not call me fucking.
Give that fat heart of his a hooah!
I don't care.
Willie!
I will not stand for it.
That was my Colonel Slade from Son of a Woman.
I don't care. I will shut this fucking car down and we will turn around and go home.
All right.
All right.
So in short, please support us on the Patreon.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're trying to say.
There's all kinds of goofy stuff. You
Yes.
give enough, you get stickers, you
Yes.
get T-shirts, mugs. Get more work for Bill.
Yeah, I mean, really.
And most of the shit that we're supposed to give you, we do give you every month.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a little late, but we are caught up. And I kind of like the buffer a little bit of right now, like the after shows are a couple episodes behind on being posted.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a whole back catalog, but I wonder if that You know, maybe for people who like did listen live, it's like, oh yeah, that was a few weeks ago. What happened during that one? Hey, if you want to relive it, you know, there you go.
You know, and
There you go.
That's the idea.
You know,
it wasn't on purpose though.
It's a couple bucks a month. You put it on auto pay. You don't even notice it's gone.
Yeah.
Like your accountant shows up.
Until your credit card hasn't been changed or updated, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I was paying that guy $1.
Yeah. It's less than the price of a venti latte over at Starbucks.
Yeah. So it's all laid out over there. What price range gets you what, and help us out. Support the show. Like, you know, we do want to do more things. We do want to do some other things. We've been talking about doing stuff for video, buying a camera. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, you know, if you want to see us do more shit, do different things, and if there was more traffic or action on the Patreon, like there's a couple people that follow us on the Patreon that support us there that don't actually aren't active Patreon like that. Like they're like hooking it up, they're friends, or they're returning the favor because I support their Patreon.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we have, you know, the dedicated true listeners, like some people like Wesley,
Yeah.
and Tom and James, the guys, you know, who are just like, you know, hey, here's a couple bucks, you know what I mean? But you know, if I saw that these people were actually there more often, you know, I'd be more inclined to kind of like throw special, exclusive stuff out there. Which I am working on, but my turnaround time is like, well, people kind of come and go over there a little bit, you know what I mean? So I do have a couple things in the kitty, shorter form stuff that's meant to go on a Patreon, so they should look forward to that.
It's the whole crack pipe thing I was telling you about before.
See, somehow it all comes back to the crack.
And it does help us pay for bandwidth and you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Helps us prep future projects.
Yeah.
You know, and
It buys me guitar strings.
you know, and some of it does go straight up Bob's nose.
you know, but I mean that's because he doesn't know how to use the tissues. Damn.
Hey,
Nostrils.
What I do with bacon is my own business.
That's true. That's more likely.
Baking soda, you mean?
Yeah.
Little baking soda?
I'm talking about bacon.
Bacon.
That's more likely.
I
That
cook
you-
it, grind it up, and I snort it.
Yeah, baby.
like I said,
Fucking metal.
it's much more likely. So anyway, speaking of people who help out, listen, and support, who do we got in the chat room, Ed? This week we got some people hanging out.
we got Thomas K.
Tommy K.
We got Agent Palmer.
Agent Palmero.
Yeah, who's trying to tell people you need to pay a certain amount before you get the free mug.
Well, I like the way that he went full hard on that, like addressing that comment, and I went smooth on it.
Yeah, we got.
I was like, yeah, the pay levels are on the site. And he's like, listen to me.
we got Thomas K. We got Wesley Ryan Gaskins.
Yeah.
Wesley.
Wesley.
I saw Zombie John in there earlier. I'm sure he'll be popping in.
Oh, well, let me know when he pops back in there because I have a question for him. All right, please keep an eye on that
Okay.
because sometimes I have it open too, but sometimes I lose track. So we're gonna give him a chat game, Ed. Ed, what do you think about this week's chat game? You like it? Yes or no? Come on.
Yeah, I can go for it.
You can go for it. You're
I
into
mean,
it.
it's something I do almost every week.
That's true. It's true. It involves you. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the hashtag for this chat game
Yeah.
is Edward O'Hare goes to the movies.
Hey, we did it with Jay.
Yeah.
Right. And so I figured we'll do it with you, Ed. We'll see what they
Sure.
come up with.
Examples include Night of the Living Ed
Yeah.
and Gone with the Wind 2: O'Hare's Revenge.
See? How about that? There's a joke in that one.
There you go.
So I came up with one. Palmer came up with the Gone with the Wind one. If we're laying blame. So go for that, kids. Go hog wild.
Drop that Ed.
Drop that. There you go. There you go.
Eddie and the Cruisers 3.
There you go. All right. So with that, I think we're gonna go. We'll do some news, maybe.
Do some news.
I mean, it's been a light news week, a little bit. We
Not really.
Well, I mean, not really, but I mean, coming at us Comic-Con week, the next week always probably feels like a light week, even if there is a lot of news, because it's just like it was a torrent of other stuff, you know. Does that make any sense?
News o'clock.
How about that, kids?
Yeah.
I forget who told me about the burping. Someone said something about the burping. I know it's been me lately, and I was like, yeah, well, that's because I grew up listening to too much Stern. Like that was my.
Somebody commented about burps?
Yeah.
Who was it?
I don't That's my issue. That's my issue right now.
Name drop. I want to hear. Give me the names.
Might have been Dom. No, because Dom was giving us
critiques and pointers.
critiques.
No, I don't really
it's
think
not
so.
as bad as farting a lot on a podcast.
Well,
That
grabbing the
can-
mic and putting it up to your ass.
Yeah,
is
if,
probably the limit.
once your fans can smell it,
Yeah.
then you got a problem.
This is a scratch and sniff from fucking button.
All right.
So, in the
This
news,
is the show. This is the show.
in the news.
What am I gonna do? This
Yeah.
is it, right? I mean,
See, what was your favorite trailer?
I'm
coming
sitting here arranging post-it notes.
What was your favorite trailer coming out of Comic-Con? I don't know if we discussed all the stuff.
Just in general, favorite trailer coming out of that. It was a lot.
The Thor was really good.
Thor was really good.
Thor was really
I think
good.
Thor might top it. I like Justice League, but some people had issues with it.
Justice League was good for what it is. It didn't like break any new ground because
Yeah.
it was familiar in a way. It was like all right. It didn't do anything different than the previous Justice League trailer did.
Yeah.
Like in a big way. It was like okay, different scenes and stuff, but it felt very like okay, cool shots.
Yeah.
Damn, there was something.
Stranger Things, Westworld.
Stranger Things and Westworld had two really good trailers.
I didn't
The
realize-
Westworld is only from the first week of shooting.
Yeah.
That trailer.
Yeah, which is
I saw a thing the other day. So, don't feel like you're getting so much
Mm-hmm.
throughout the season from that at all,
Yeah.
which is cool. But
You probably get like 2 episodes worth
Yeah.
of footage.
yeah, exactly. And but like I did rewatch that a couple times and
Yeah.
started theorizing in my own head.
And you got a cool little bit for the Doctor Who Christmas special. I don't know if anyone's. Okay. I guess I'm the
Just
only one
you
here who
wait.
watches that show.
I keep that around. Why? No one know?
All right, so on to the first news story.
Ed, you want to talk to Sarah Netsley about Doctor Who?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Speak of Time Lords.
Yeah.
What? James Bond is not.
Daniel Craig was a doctor?
Well, James Bond is a Time Lord. At least that's my theory.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I know about that. Right.
so-
I've heard that joke.
So James Bond is not going to be regenerating just yet. Mm-hmm. He's going to have one more go around with Daniel Craig
Yeah,
in
bitch.
the chair.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great news.
Start doing your push-ups, Danny.
Yes, the as yet untitled Bond film will be released November 8th.
They should just call it that.
2019.
Why don't they just call it that? Untitled Bond film number 23? Is that it? 20? What?
I think it might be 25.
Well, whatever. When it hit 25, that's what they should call it.
Yeah.
Just Bond 25.
Just name them all the next Bond movie, and then do the next Bond movie, the next Bond movie 2.
Yeah, there you
Three.
go. There you go. Start doing that. Start doing like the scary movies.
I was just doing by the years. James Bond 2019.
That's it. There you go. Whatever year it comes out,
Wasn't there like a
That's not a bad idea, actually. That's pretty good.
wasn't there like a Dracula 1982 or something like that?
Yeah, there was a Dracula,
Godzilla.
72 AD it was called.
1972 AD.
AD, yeah.
That was with Christopher Lee.
Blackula.
There was a Dracula 2000 too. That was,
Yeah, no one really wants that.
yeah.
No.
There was that, yeah.
I mean, no one really wanted Dracula 1972 AD, but wasn't there one of them where Christopher Lee played Dracula and didn't speak a word?
I think that might be it.
Because he thought that the dialogue they'd written for him was rubbish, so he just said "fuck you."
It's rubbish. It's all rubbish.
And it's
Speaking of, is this all there's not a lot of activity on this movie yet, though, right?
yeah, no, it's announced that that he's pretty much coming back,
Right. We don't have
And they have a release date.
and they have a release date.
no script or
That's
anything.
it. That's all that we know of.
Gotcha. It's Bond. We got to make
There's
sure.
some
we gotta make-
director speculation.
Sure,
though.
but it's like it's Bond. We got to make sure Daniel Craig is in before we
Yeah.
move forward.
They don't know if Mendes is coming
Right.
back. But
Well, no, Mendes is not coming
he's,
back.
Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve.
All right.
He's in talks.
He's in talks. He's having conversations
Well, and
with the studio.
yeah, and what's funny is like everyone, like Nolan has said that he'd be interested in doing a James Bond movie, which means he's not going to be doing a James Bond.
Right. If you have to let people know that you're interested and you're
Yeah.
Nolan, it's not that. It's
Yeah.
they just don't want you. You seem like an issue.
This was like 10 years ago when Tarantino said, I'd do a James Bond movie.
Yeah, but they stole his idea, though.
I would do it. I would do it.
They actually stole his idea, though,
which is what
to remake Casino Royale.
Well,
just reboot it and just
well, he wanted to do it as a period piece in the 60s.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure. But the fact that to just kind of start at that point.
But they said no. But
Yeah.
let's redo Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't.
And they were like,
Yeah.
poker's hot right now, right?
Yeah. Well,
that's all I feel like when they're playing that fucking game. It's like,
well, because they didn't have the rights to Casino Royale. Like, that's why there was never a movie. It wasn't because they didn't want
Columbia had it, I think.
Yeah.
Or Sony.
No, it was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
It was Columbia
yeah,
because it was
Columbia.
a film in the '60s.
Yeah,
with David Niven.
Yeah, that wasn't Casino Royale though. That was they just used the title. And it was pretty much
Meanwhile,
like a spoof.
all right, so that's enough Bond talk.
So yeah.
I mean, unless you got more. But I feel like you guys could go on for a while about that.
So let's talk about the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah. Well,
let's not just to drive Ed nuts.
well, it's not that one.
No,
It's
no,
the other one.
Not
It's the Marvel Captain Marvel,
not Shazam.
not Shazam.
I was mistaken because of his enthusiasm.
Yeah, yeah.
He had such a giant smile on
He
his
did.
face.
He did. He was excited for a second.
There's some people who you say you're wounded and they say, well, okay. And then there's some people who you say you're wounded and they poke.
And they poke. And they poke. All right. So, well, the interesting part here is that some concept art for the Captain Marvel movie from Marvel is kind of leaked, or not leaked, but they show a bunch of it. And some cool information that's coming out is that the Skrulls are definitely in it, and it takes place in the 90s.
Yes.
Which is an interesting twist because it's coming out in between the two Avengers movies. So
it's gonna be there's gonna be a time travel aspect somewhere between these movies where she's
Most
gonna
likely.
be involved.
yeah, it seems like that's probably what's going to happen to some degree.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have her just be a character from the 90s that no one's ever mentioned, A, number one, and B, like, she's got to interact with all these people. So we'll bring her forward to the future, then it gives her a little piece of that Steve Rogers, the last 25 years, whatever. Hey, I'm not good at math. That whole fucking void of my life
So
I don't know
she
about.
was basically stuck in a cosmic ice cube for
Something.
20 years.
Well, I
Basically.
mean, the other thing,
It's probably where the time gem portion of this whole thing will come into play, too.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I would say that way you can get around that is you could say something like her powers stop her from aging, and she's just been off in space.
No,
for the
you
last
definitely
20
could,
years.
but she will age, so
But-
you'll have to
Yeah.
retrofit that a little bit at some point. But I think one of the things that, I think the big takeaway from the news for me anyway, is the fact that Marvel's got the Skrulls, or is using them anyway, and it turns out it's one of those overlap things. When it comes to the rights with Fox and the Fantastic Four.
It was thought for a while that the Skrulls were part of the Fantastic Four, and that's why they weren't the bad guys in the first Avengers movie. But and they have some concept art out, which looks pretty much like the comics.
Yeah, it looks like that. And some people are thinking that, like, one of the reasons why they were holding back on revealing what the subtitle of Avengers 4 is because now that we know this, that what if, check this out, if in the Captain Marvel movie we meet the Skrulls, but then in Avengers 2, when she comes to the future and she reveals the Skrulls have been here the whole time, and it's always been Secret Invasion, which is a Marvel storyline where all of a sudden you find out, oh shit, the Skrulls have invaded us a long time ago, playing a long con and sleeper cell type thing.
Yeah, wasn't it a 90s storyline?
Not even that far back, early 2000s, the low end.
So maybe they're trying to like push that
yeah,
storyline.
absolutely.
Back
That's what
into,
people
into
think.
the 90s a little bit to fit
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
where
true.
they're pulling the character.
I mean, it's
up
really not a
little.
90s thing. It's early 2000s.
No, but I mean, like since she's being pulled out of time one direction, they're pulling them out of time in another direction just for the purposes of building a good story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think they got to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
Because if they don't play it right,
Yeah.
it could feel like, didn't we do this in Winter Soldier?
Right. Or at the very least, I wonder if it'll be set up so that, like, after Avengers 4, that's when Secret Invasion happens. Like, Avengers 4 will actually be Thanos and stuff. Like, the Secret Invasion thing's not happening right away. I feel like her movie might be planting the seeds for it. But it's like, we're going to wrap up Thanos with a 2-part giant fuck you movie. And then in the next phase is when, okay, we're not dealing with Thanos now. Maybe now it's all about Secret Invasion for a couple of movies. or something. Because now you do with Thanos, the big question is, what are they going to do in that next big overarching, looking towards the future phase thing that Marvel does? You know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
It's going to be fine.
yeah.
Oh yeah, well,
absolutely.
that's the one thing you know for sure.
It's going to be fine.
You know?
And when was the last time you could say that about a movie company?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Those are not downslope. Like, did you see In the Heart of the Sea? Like I wasn't that impressed. Inferno, I thought was bad. Rush was okay, but it didn't do well in the box office.
He's doing a
Ron Howard does not have the same heat that he did 10, 15 years ago. I don't know if it's going to be all okay, Jay. I've been thinking about this a lot.
What, the
since
Star
we had
Wars
that
movie?
conversation. Yes.
You really want to go here?
That was the last time you told me it's going to be fine.
But, Ed, have you seen the Ron Howard's tweets and stuff like that? He's in control.
Yeah, I've been following.
He's fine. I absolutely disagree with every fucking word that just came out of your fucking mouth.
I don't know, man.
No, seriously, that's retarded. What are we talking about? Captain Marvel and Skrull?
Oh, man, they had 4 months with
It
those
is gonna
guys.
be fucking fine. Don't get me started.
All right. I'm just saying.
In fact, I think it's in better hands. I think it's actually doing
Okay,
fine.
I'm just saying. I'm not sure if the damage is irreparable.
It's not. It's fine. It's fine. The movie is fine.
I'm just putting this out there. I'm a little
It's
worried.
not. There's all the feeds going through Star Wars, the Han Solo movie. It
we got boxing
seems like
gloves
it's
somewhere?
fine.
All right, I've let this go on long enough.
We're all over the place today. I'm
You let
sorry.
what go on long enough? It was a minute.
I was kidding.
He started picking a fight.
To be fucking continued. Right.
Most likely. Also, in the news, Sam Jackson might be coming to TV, basically. Probably cable or whatever like that. But he's looking at a series. He's looking at this...
What's it called?
Snakes on a Plane, the series?
What's it called?
Snakes on everything. What are they on this week? It's Where Are the Snakes? And every week he's trying
Get
to
these
find
motherfucking snakes off this motherfucking van.
He's hunting down snakes. Like it's like it's like The Fugitive, but we follow the agent.
He sticks at a train.
And maybe
I'm trying to find this no-armed snake
Snakes
that
in a
accused of
car.
murder.
Wait, here. It's with all this. We're in the age of having teams to back people up.
Yeah,
So maybe he's got a team like the A team,
right.
and they go running around killing snakes.
That's it. That's
yeah,
it.
they actually get like Dwight Schultz and Mr. T.
But it's always this one pack of snakes, like that were like special.
I won't.
Genetically altered snakes. Right?
All right.
But seriously, what's the name of this
So
show?
it's called The Old Man, and it's based on a book. It's a crime thriller.
I heard this
by
one.
Thomas Berry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the one with the guy in the boat.
No,
With
Old
the
Man in the
fish.
Sea.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the prequel.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway, Old Man centers on a widower, Dan Chase, an average Vermont retiree with a dark secret, following his involvement as a young Army intelligence hotshot in a botched operation in Libya 35 years ago. He went on the run, trying to escape people who want him dead, and just as he'd begun to think his life was finally safe, he finds himself again in the crosshairs. So they're shopping it around kind of like to FX or
okay.
Netflix.
So
or
this is a show without a network.
without a network just yet, but it seems like the kind of thing that would not take long to get picked up. So if you've been thinking about how come
Yeah, it seems
here's a guy.
interesting, but it's probably going to be like 3-4 years before we see this.
Yeah, I mean, who knows
Yeah.
what the turnaround time will actually be on this because of Sam's schedule and all that kind of like hoo-ha. But no, I don't know, man. It's a really cool fucking thought to actually see him in something like this now that we get to see more kind of deeper, longer form television nowadays. It almost makes you wonder who else could you see kind of doing that kind of a thing. Or maybe not. All right, so no one cared. All right, so either that or everybody was
all right.
distracted.
I'm sorry. Are we still live?
We were still live.
Okay, so it's
Cleveland. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Wrong
wish I
kind
could
of
do.
live.
Yeah.
I can't do the soundtrack.
so it seems like the theme for this episode so far has been me one by one upsetting everyone at the table. I called Bill by his full first name. Jay, I just had a little spat with him about
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So
Guess who's next?
I'm just waiting.
Guess who's next?
All right.
So I heard this. I heard this news from my father, and I checked out. There's a story on Screen Rant that confirms
boy.
it. Yeah. So Star Trek Discovery during the
here we go.
Comic-Con panels.
Yeah. Star Trek, the new Star Trek show.
Yeah, the producers announced that the reason that Sonequa Martin Green's character
Yeah.
talks to Sarek, Spock's father,
Sure.
from in the trailers,
Right.
is because she is actually his adoptive human daughter.
Oh.
So Spock
Okay.
has a half sister.
Spock has a human half sister, who's the first human to graduate from the Vulcan Science Academy.
No.
Since when?
No. Sorry.
Since when?
Sorry.
Would he?
They just made Vulcans actually really nice people by doing that. They're racists. They're all about Vulcans.
Yeah, I mean,
They would not let somebody in the Vulcan Academy ever.
Yeah.
They have barely got any personal. We're barely above ants to them. They're just dealing with us because we are smart enough to have figured out how to do warp technology.
It's more like they just want to keep an eye on us.
Right.
They're
so,
like, okay,
and now
humans
you're talking,
and your Federation.
and now you're talking about the period not long after they just meet us, more or less.
Right, 'cause what's the
suddenly
timeline?
they're letting Sarek's half daughter. They should be wondering why the hell they're letting Sarek marry an Earth woman. That would be more likely.
Earth girls are easy.
Yeah.
Well, just ask Julie Brown.
That's what I'm saying. So that's kind of a shake-up. But it just goes to show you how much they're really shifting things around on that. And they really,
They're actually saying that Amanda, Spock's mother, is actually her real mother.
Yeah, well,
And that she was raised on Vulcan.
that would be the only way that would make
Yeah.
any sense and be at all acceptable to
but
anybody.
there's never been any previous mention of this person. And,
right.
No.
Right.
And this
right.
takes place 10 years before Kirk and Spock.
And it's supposed to be in the TV show continuity.
Yes, in the Prime universe.
Yeah. And now we're talking
Yeah.
about somebody who, in Spock's life, would have been the only person he probably could have ever talked to about being half Vulcan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Space.
no.
I believe my initial response to my father was, fuck you.
So this is how we make it a family drama.
Not you, Dad.
Right. You told me that
But
earlier.
fuck you.
So, well,
All right.
I guess
well,
that's how you feel
What
about
the
this.
fuck is this?
It's
Jay, could you explain this to me?
No.
It's now official.
Suddenly
It's
the
not
Han
just-
Solo movie sounds a whole lot fucking better now, doesn't it?
if only I had a drum set.
I mean, like, Cybok I could buy. Because he's like, that's his brother from Star Trek 5.
Oh.
The law.
That guy
yeah.
who was never mentioned before. Or
Yeah,
again.
who was supposed to be like 20 years older and like started this whole movement and then was banished from Vulcan because he believed they should wade into their emotions instead of rejecting them.
Right.
All right, let me just give you my little bit of optimism for the only thing I can say really is that they can do anything. They can write anything in. You know what I mean? I can see them getting away with the storyline. You know what I mean?
they're going to get away with it.
The fact of the matter is that I'm a big fan of continuity. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't look like it's going to mesh into what we've seen in the original series whatsoever, nor does it follow anything. Hence your big dilemma with the Klingons, and I agree. You know what I mean?
I think what's happened here is the Paramount owns the movie rights, right? So they've already done their thing and decided that we're not going to follow the continuity anymore. We're going to rewrite everything. And now CBS has been like, okay, well, they did it so we can do it too. It's okay now.
But that's a mistake because you're telling these Trekkies to go fuck themselves, basically. They're doing like the wrong thing. But they should come out and say that. Yeah. But they're not doing that. They're saying, oh, this is going to go right into the original series.
Oh, because,
it's going to fuck everybody up.
No, because they're basically saying fuck you Trekkies twice because because of that, and then they're saying now for the first episode, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing.
You want the show, you're gonna have to pay for it.
But what I'm saying is that they should have at least kept it in continuity with Abrams' universe, or at the very least, because that's what everybody knows now. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, all right, what timeline is this?
Yeah. This is why like movie franchises should just tack on to the end. Like, don't try and always, especially if it's dated. If the original is dated and you're trying to tack it on into the continuity, like, you know what I mean? Like, Star Wars should really probably only go forward. Like, we're gonna run out of stuff to do in the past. And like with Star Trek, to build series like in his pocket in between the original series and next gen, like you're trying to please everybody too hard.
But to be fair, you can go in and out of Star Wars' universe and do anything you want. You know what I mean? Look at Rogue One.
No,
You know
I
what mean?
understand. But that's what I'm saying. But with eventually there'll be diminishing returns.
But
on
they
it.
kept continuity is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not doing that here.
Yeah, and
No.
this is the same reason why like there's no reason for this to be a prequel. Like if this was after Voyager, I would not have any of these problems.
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you should
100% agree with that.
With Star Trek, at least, they should just kind of tack on because it's the problem. Really, is aesthetic too. It's like it's the thing we have issue with the design work. It's like the original series took place in the '60s.
Like,
so it looks fucking like a certain way.
And there are episodes of the original series that take place during this time period.
Yeah.
And like the Captain Pike episode, where they would have the same thing, it just instead of the black collar, they have like the little turtleneck thing. Like
right.
Those should be the uniforms that these guys are wearing.
Right.
And
no one ever wants to be a stickler. That's the thing. Everybody wants to jump in the sandbox and then make it their own, and nobody wants to just kind of like stick to like what the fans are really expecting, and then work within it. Like,
because it's all about being creative. But you know what? No, great. Be creative, but you want to be really good at being creative. Be creative within that set of rules.
Show us how crazy you can get.
This universe has already been created, so now play in that. Okay, follow
Keep
those
the
rules.
continuity.
Don't rewrite things for convenience.
Right.
All right.
Just because it's like this will be cooler.
People took the time to actually write some really difficult shit that had built up over time with everything. They actually took time to figure out and rewrite in the crappiest show of them all, Enterprise. But they got everything right now.
Yeah.
All that shit is out the fucking window with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at least they kept continuity with Enterprise.
They were trying to, but the biggest issue that they're gonna relearn here, I think, is what they learned on Enterprise. You can't go backwards and then try and be up to date at the same time.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest problem with Enterprise. I liked Enterprise. I didn't miss an episode. I watched the whole thing. But a lot of people didn't because it's like, well, it makes no sense because the show looks a lot more modern,
advanced.
Advanced. You know,
it's been a long road,
and that wasn't a bad song.
Getting from there to here, right?
Yeah, that's it.
But our time is finally here. Sing it, Ed.
No, that's enough.
All right. All right, it is enough. All right. So, speaking of enough is enough.
Yeah.
Those chat kids.
All right. So this is about me. So I don't think I should read them.
Oh no.
No.
Okay.
I want to hear them. I want to be surprised.
Oh, do you really? Are these did our illustrious agent happen to pull a bunch of these together for us?
Yeah, they're on the bottom.
Oh boy. Ooh, let's see here. Where do we start?
Hot to Trot 2, not a Mr. Ed movie.
Not. There you go. All right. So, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Eds.
Cool.
Wonder Ed. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Ed. Mad Ed, Fury Road. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Ed Dimension. ED, the extra dimensional. Everything you always wanted to know about Ed, but were afraid to ask. What's with the hate for Canada?
That's not a movie title.
I don't know if that's a movie title or that's just a question.
Guess who wrote that?
Yeah, Chad Envy. Ed probably saves the world. Butch
That seems accurate.
seems accurate. Yeah, sure. Butch Sweeney and the Sundance Ed.
Oh, it's cute.
That's adorable.
I like that one.
Who's Afraid of Edward O'Hare? Which I think is good. One Flew Over the O'Hare Nest.
Okay.
Ed's Got Wood.
That's a good one.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell. Planet of the Eds. Right Said Ed, Too Sexy. I guess that's the doc.
That's frightening.
Close Encounters of the Ed Kind.
That's every Saturday here.
Ed Flicks. And Edinator 2. Judgment Day. Edward and the Hendersons. But yeah.
Oh, God. Ed's got wood.
Ed's got wood. And then Butch Sweeney and the Sundance Ed.
That's my favorite.
That was kind of cute. If we were friends, that would be even funnier. So we're up to the meanwhile stuff. You remember Meanwhile, right?
Meanwhile,
That was loud. So since you two saw Atomic Blonde, let me just talk about Ozark real quick.
Ooh, yeah.
Ozark, which started on Netflix and stars Jason Bateman and is directed by Jason Bateman. And I was expecting it to be written by him too, but it's not.
This movie seems to mix
Series.
a lot of elements that I would never think would go together.
What are you talking about?
Jason Bateman, Laura Linney,
Oh, yeah. It's a series, though.
moody lighting, dark drama.
Right.
Like, none of these things.
Oh, you watched some of it?
No, just by the trailers.
Yeah. Well, the trailers follows up. It feels like an heir to Breaking Bad in a way where it's like, it's about this, it's about money and it's about a dad trying to do the right thing for the family, but he's, he's a crook, he's a criminal, he's a fuck up, you know what I mean? So it's walking that line, and he's got to kind of be a guy who's coming up with the right thing to do, like in the moment kind of thing. But it's really pretty good, man. I'm digging it. I'm in by 3 episodes. I recommend it. Basically, he's a money launderer, and shit goes down in the first episode where it all falls apart and it gets put on him. And you'll see why. But the decision becomes for him to go down to the Ozarks and start over down there. And 'cause the idea is that the Ozarks are like a little touristy kind of thing.
Right.
And there's some opportunities in there to invest into small businesses and funnel the money through those. So it becomes a matter of them being like, you guys are moving, like fucking upset the whole fucking family in life and jam down there, and then once they get down there, running into the fucking dealing with the locals and shit. But I'm just wondering if the tension was pretty high for the first couple episodes. I'm wondering if it's going to start tapering off or if it comes back in. Because it kind of, because the moodiness and the dark tension was really kind of ratcheted up in those first 2 episodes. But now I'm in the third, and I'm like, okay, now they're there. So now I want to see where it goes after that. But I recommend it already. I'm going to give it that. Cash, as they say. And then let's talk to you two, I guess.
Yeah.
We got Jay listed first. So Jay, you saw Atomic Blonde.
Yes, I did, William.
Son of a bitch.
Ed, we can make it so they don't allow you over the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's almost like that now, with that fucking traffic.
The toll, right?
This show may be recorded live, but Bill edits these, so he could just cut straight to me talking about my review.
So you go right ahead then. You don't see me stopping
That's
you.
true. He could just turn you to a
Kish,
soundbite.
No, I'm just leaving. I said, I'm like, fuck this show.
Could you pour me a glass of water?
You can go fuck yourself.
Oh, okay.
What are you leaving for?
Now, Jay, what'd you think of Atomic Blonde?
You go first.
All right, fine.
You've earned that right.
So this stars Charlize Theron as an MI6 agent going into Berlin at the height of the Cold War. Actually, right at the end of the Cold War, literally as they're about to tear down the Berlin Wall.
Yes.
And she's got to go in there to find a list. It seems like a classic James Bond kind of spy setup. But stuff goes down. It's 80s, so there's a lot of club music, a lot of neon, and
It's a period piece set in '89.
A lot of intrigue. Very, very intense fight scenes. And the thing I love about the action here is that you actually see her getting more and more tired as the day goes on, and each fight really does a number on her.
Sorry.
And that's something that even in the John Wick movies, he's still Superman throughout that whole thing.
Yeah, right.
But you really see that. I mean, straight from the beginning, you see her get out of that tub, and it's
Oh yes.
Yeah, but I enjoyed this. I think people should see this. I'm gonna cash this.
Okay, cool. I did not read the book from which it was based. I know.
The graphic novel, The Coldest City.
I think Bill did. You read. I know Palmer did. So I went into this cold. I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? I just sat there and went into neutral zone, and took it in. And it is a kick-ass film. It really is. It's like I said, it was set in '89. It has that neon all over the place, and it's got a really cool '80s soundtrack. Although a lot of the songs are from early '80s and not late '80s. You know what I mean? So that's just a little nitpick or whatever. But this is cool. This is a really good. It's a female James Bond, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's exactly what it is. A grittier James Bond film if it was a woman.
I would say even more twists and turns in this.
Yeah.
With the intrigue and everything else.
I want to pull out James McAvoy. He's great in this too. Again, it's one of those roles where you think, we had this discussion in Wonder Woman with Chris Pine, where he was the second fiddle to Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Which is the same kind of thing here. He's got a lot to do. You know what I mean? And he doesn't just play second fiddle to her. He's in there every moment. John Goodman, one of your heroes in film.
Yes.
Lends support. Toby Jones. These guys are great supporting performers.
Toby Jones has some of the best nonverbal double takes.
Right.
And
again, another example of a film edited well. A lot of good action-oriented.
Well, an action film these days really has to be edited well, because if it's not, it's a mess.
Yeah, but I'm just saying Ed hit a point because, you get to see her really fucking just like beat the fuck out of these guys, and it's tight on her.
Yeah, and
you see what's going on.
And it's her, and the reason the editing is good is because they don't cut as much.
Right.
It's longer takes.
So you could tell that she's really in there because they do a lot of the facial shots. She's not doing, I'm sure there must have been some things that they had to do with the stunt person.
They're staged. They're staged well, and instead of edits, it's panning.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And they're going from here, then panning there. It's all
same
staged.
team from John Wick.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. And
and anything that takes place on a staircase, just
That's when you know it's trouble.
Falls down a staircase is the hardest thing for a stuntman to do, because you there's no way to not get hurt.
Yes.
And have it look right.
Decent storyline too going on, and I haven't read the books. I don't know how faithful it is. I spoke to Agent Palmer. He said that it's pretty damn faithful.
Yeah,
you
told me that too. He said it sticks to it, and which is cool because what's nice about the book is it's a really quick read, actually.
Right.
Like, it's a very clean story. It doesn't try to get bogged down with all this other nonsense or adding, like, a lot of, like, stuff, like relationships. Or it's about the missions, the assignment,
right.
blah, 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 blah. And so... And it doesn't actually have all this action stuff in it, really. I mean, there's a couple of moments, but for the most part, it's more... It's real spy stuff, covert, having meetings, talking to people, and it's all talk.
And the movie is like that too. You know what I mean? It's not all just one big action fest.
That's what I heard.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of conversation going on. There is a story being told.
Right.
Setting it in '89 was awesome with the Berlin Wall and that whole time. They did a really, 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 way above average job with this.
Right.
So this is a very, very high cash for me.
High cash.
High cash.
High cash.
And it will be stashed on my shelf.
I'm sure that it would.
Stash.
Steel box.
High cash.
Steal it.
So this is really more than a cash; it's a stash.
Well, I stash shit that I trash.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Too. So I'm not the go-to guy for that. But this is a very high cash. I'll recommend this. Go see it. It's in that 235 scope.
Sure.
So it's definitely a very beautifully visual film.
Sure.
There's one shot where she's walking into an apartment complex and it starts upside down and then slowly turns around. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's one of the better films of the summer, I think.
Nice. Actually, Ozarks has got a crazy shot like that where they do this thing where it's like, wow, okay, you're calling almost too much attention to the crane right now. Like, my head is like, how are you doing this shot? It's one of these things where he's on like a little tiny ledge that's down below him.
Okay.
You start behind him, and as you come closer, you realize, oh, okay, it's way down as the camera goes, and then it goes over his shoulder, then down, and then turns to him Like, so all I'm picturing in my head is this big snake crane doing like this weird thing. Like, you know what I mean? It's drawing too much attention. It's a cool shot, but it's like, it's such a shot type thing. It's like when you watch drone footage now, it's like, okay, I'm in a flying thing. You know?
Well, maybe they should make a rule that if you want to do shots like that, you got to figure out a way to do it with a cameraman.
Something like that, you know?
There's also
Hang
one
his ass
thing.
off a crane, tie him to a belt, you know.
You know?
I wanted to bring up is the fact that they don't make her like a superhuman badass either. She gets her ass kicked too.
Well, that's
hard.
why I heard that opening shot of her supposed to be all bruised up.
Yeah, she's all like fucked up and everything. You know what I mean?
She's taking lumps and
as it goes, and so it's a very realistic.
That was what
action
surprised me too. Like I saw
too.
a couple of quick shots, a couple of quick scenes, and when she like they put a lot of that in there, her taking hits, and they look just as real. Usually, taking hits doesn't look that real in most things. Like, you know what I mean? But she was selling that too. Like, you know what I mean? Her work in this, as far as the stunt choreography, is amazing. I'm actually kind of feel like I missed it this week.
And this is a movie that it is a crying fucking shame that there is no Oscar category for stunt work, like choreography. Because I think this would be a big contender. I think this could probably take that prize.
Right.
Well, I think fight choreography is at a point where they need to reconsider that.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Because
Anyway.
I mean, there's some of the best moments I've seen recently, whether it's been TV or movies, that I can remember going back are fight scenes.
Yeah,
like I go back. You say fight scenes, automatically I go back to the Daredevil one in the hallway.
Sure. Those are amazing.
Right,
amazing.
Right, and they're amazing for the things that they don't do, which is all the regular routine shots and everything. Like when they stand in the hallway and you watch two guys in two different rooms have a fight, and you're in the hallway.
You don't see them.
Right. You know, you just see shit go from one room to another.
That TV comes flying out at the right time.
Yeah. But SAG at least does the SAG stunt ensemble, which is good. But another thing is the technical achievements of this movie.
Sure.
You know, the editing again. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of really well edited films this year. Like
Sure.
Baby Driver was another one I mentioned.
Yeah.
So I hope that Oscar pays attention and not just gives an editing nomination to something that's just, high profile Oscar bait.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You should look at these action films and see editing for what editing jobs are really all about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now let me ask you something, Jay.
Yes.
If there was a stunt category, how do you think Atomic Blonde would stack up to Baby Driver?
I actually think that they're both well done, but I think this one, especially with the fight choreography, probably has the edge.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
There's different levels of stunts. You know what I mean? There's stunt drivers. And trampoline guy, tightrope and shit. But yeah, very good.
All right, so last thing to round us out is going to be that Bob has been doing a rewatch.
I got one more thing.
What do you
before we
mean?
go
Oh,
there.
you do have Pet Sematary.
Real quick. There's a really cool documentary on Amazon Prime called Unearthed and Untold: The Path to Pet Sematary.
Okay.
And it is
Saw a commercial for this.
well over an hour and a half doc about the making of Pet Sematary and the cult following that it has.
No, is this about the novel or the movie?
About the movie and the novel, actually. It's all in there. You know what I mean? They go through the course of when the novel came out and, what inspired him to do that and how, they went ahead and they had to they wanted it done in Maine. Like, he had a lot of say in it, King. Because it was his screenplay. He wrote the screenplay immediately after he wrote that book. And it's been floating around for like a good, almost a decade. You know what I mean? That screenplay, and they passed on it a few times, and it's a horror film I enjoy a lot, so that's pretty good.
Dad is better.
Sometimes that is better.
Sometimes.
Fred Gwynn, man,
Dad is better.
great performance by Fred.
Herman
Gwynn in
Munster.
that. Yeah,
I just saw My Cousin Vinny last week or a couple of weeks
his
ago.
last movie. I
We've
think.
officially named the only three things I know him in. It's Monsters. I forgot that he was in Vinny.
Your litigation methods may be unconventional,
Unconventional.
but you're one hell of a trial lawyer.
But all right, so that's Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Yeah,
I'm gonna check that
and
out, actually.
it's a really good doc. They have everybody but King is interviewed.
Yeah.
Oh, that tells you something.
And Fred Gwynn, but there's a lot of good behind-the-scenes footage of the film being
Sure,
shot.
okay.
And some really good stories with Fred Gwynn and everything, and how he was really happy to be there. So it's a good flick.
Nice.
Good
I'm gonna
doc,
check it out. Actually.
I should say.
Actually, what's funny is Amazon Prime sent me something in the mail. Like, hey, you're watching all these videos. Just letting you know, reminding you that you have access to all of our library. It was like, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you sending something in the mail.
I get that. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, and it was like, we've noticed that you've never watched a video under this Prime account. It's like, it's true. So, Bob.
Yeah.
Rewatching American Gods.
Yeah.
You give it a rewatch.
Well, the original plan was to sit down and do all 8 at once, but how things happen. So I got through 2, but right away you realize that this is a show you really should be watching a second time.
Okay.
Because right in the first 5 minutes, something happens that the first time through is you don't think anything about.
Gotcha.
But the moment you go back and watch, and he sits there and he's on the phone, something's up with the weather.
Right.
Right.
All this recontextualization goes on.
Something doesn't feel right with the weather and all this stuff.
Right.
Suddenly it takes on a whole different layer after you know that later on in the series, he's kind of made it snow. Or did he?
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and if you're me, he has to be a god. Otherwise, he would not be taking this ride, right? He just doesn't know what's going on. He's being led along so that he can find out on his own time what the real story is. But Wednesday's not bringing him along just because he needs a bodyguard.
Right. Yeah.
He's a fucking god. So, but everyone else that he's with is a god. So now, if you know that, then you know what I mean.
Right. Suddenly, his whole
suddenly,
place in that means nothing. Because
Right.
how's he ever going to protect me as a bodyguard against other gods?
Right.
So I need you for something else. Sure.
Right. So going back to the beginning now, when he's talking about it snowing. And you know that about 6 episodes in, Wednesday's telling him, just think snow. You know, and then suddenly it starts to snow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
so it's there's a lot of more than you would normally see. You're gonna see. I'm thinking you're gonna see a lot more proof of theories and things like that.
Right.
You know.
Right.
There's
That's cool.
less obvious ways of telling you what's really going on.
Right. Because it doesn't feel like that kind of a show where like, oh, a rewatch would definitely, like it's.
I
Doesn't
think
feel like it's like planned into the mechanic like on a
Right.
show like maybe like Westworld where it's like
Right, but I think it's just
Or Twin Peaks.
done so well.
right.
I think it's just done so well that
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's worked in.
Right.
You know,
Like it recontextualizes like everything he's been saying. Oh, okay, he's been kind of lying, blah 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 blah. But you
Right.
just don't
Bill?
realize how much of the other stuff.
I'm not showing that we're on the air.
I got that was still clicking.
right. So, like,
You might need to refresh your browser.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still going.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
so, like, when you reconsider the whole conversation he has on the phone with his wife,
Right.
and what happens to her afterwards,
Yes.
and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
this whole bad feeling he's getting with this and the weather and everything, and then later on with the weather and
Right.
his
Right.
relationship
Right.
with Wednesday. So
Right. And then when you find out even later on what really happened that night,
right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So
You're
what?
talking
So
about the lynching night. You talking about that night with the lynching too.
well, yeah, well that too. But I mean further down when he
Okay.
finds out what happened on the night she died.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what was really going on? You know, like, yeah, I could see now how, like, for sure, how,
You know what I mean?
because it's one of those things where it is all really well thought out, and you kind of forget that maybe coming out of the back end of the
Right. I
series.
mean, just going from episode to episode. Remember when you first see the first episode, you're like, "What the hell just happened with the lynching?"
Yes, right.
And then 4 episodes later,
You find out.
you find out,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Right,
you know what
right,
I mean?"
right. So now the rewatch.
And now you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the rewatch, you get more of those reveals along the way.
Yeah.
You know, they're more subtle, but if you know certain things about this going in, you're
Right.
seeing a different thing. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's
So
really
it's definitely something that you got. We all
cool.
should be watching. If
Right.
you're not watching the show,
Right.
stop listening to this show.
Hey,
Hey, whoa.
and go watch all 8 episodes.
All right. We say do it after this.
And then come back.
Right.
All
Fair
right.
enough.
So
I think he's talking to the people with headphones on.
But that's another great thing, though, because it is a good show, and it raises a good point about shows that are rewatchable.
Yeah.
But like not just because like they're cool, but because you get another layer of understanding out of it.
Yeah, I
Like
had this
Mr.
thing.
Robot and Westworld. I think
like you could watch a Transformers movie a second time because you want to watch them jump around and shoot everything.
Exactly.
And all that.
You know what I mean?
And, you want to watch the explosions. Okay, that's all well and good. But then, even when you compared to other shows that have kind of done this layering,
Yeah.
this one does it better. I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
It's definitely more subtle.
It definitely seems more subtle, but it seems also to have a little more gravitas. At least going as far as I've been rewatching.
Okay.
You know, that
That's
may
cool.
not pan out over the whole 8 because
Right,
it's
right.
you're talking about sustaining that over a length of time.
Yeah.
But so far, they all have some magnitude. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's some depth to
Yeah.
the reveals within the subtleties.
Sure. Because that was a big part of it. Like in the beginning part of that season, is that like you don't know what's really kind of all this is about. So
Yeah,
it's a great level of clarity.
Yeah, but it's also that's part of the reason why the show is awesome too. Is when you go in clueless,
Yeah.
you're enjoying a fucking great fucking
is.
story.
It is a lot
But
of
now,
fun.
if you're going in knowing what's going on,
Yeah. Right.
you're getting a really cool story too. You know, and you're getting a lot more story to boot by watching a second time.
So shows that you can rewatch.
Twin Peaks would definitely fall in that category.
Well, that's
yeah,
going to be
that's-
bringing a more of like just a general understanding.
Did you watch the last
Well,
episode?
No.
that's when you need to rewatch, I think.
Yeah, like it's part of it.
Well,
Like
it's really like coming together. James
I'm-
James Belushi is in.
well, yeah. He pops. He's already
He-
popped up.
Yeah, he's popping up a lot more now.
Okay.
And he's great. He really is.
I did kind of feel like he was there for a reason we haven't gotten to yet. Like, why did we go out? Was it just like a friendly service to a friend that he's here as an actor, or is it like, oh no, we needed a good guy for that?
Well, it's coming together now. You know what I mean? And the thing is, once I step back now, it's like, oh fuck, man, this is like some really epic storytelling. Right. You know what I mean? But it's good.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it would definitely fall into
Oh yeah.
a rewatch. Will give you a whole different perspective.
Well,
on
I
it.
think the thing with
absolutely.
that show is that's probably the show that demands it the most of all the shows we could sit here and probably list. Like Westworld, absolutely. Like, you know, I mean, do you need to? Like, no, it spells it out for you in the later half. You'd be going back just for your own edification, kind of a thing, like and clarifying and maybe because the timeline jumps around. But with Twin Peaks, it's like, oh, okay, what is a dream and what is not? Like, you know what I mean? And
But
what do visual artistic things mean?
right.
And is it supposed to mean anything at all? Like that kind of thing, because that's a thing it plays with sometimes too.
It's a vision. It's definitely a very nightmarish vision of a fucking story. But it's good though. I mean,
What kind of drugs does he do? What's he into?
I don't know, but it's cool, and I can't stop watching it.
Was he deprived of oxygen at a certain point as a
Well,
kid?
look at Eraserhead, man. I mean, that's him
I know,
right out of
I
the
know.
gate.
Yeah, right. That's
you're
my,
like-
that's my big. Hey, notice me movie.
And who was the biggest booster of that movie was fucking Mel Brooks.
Yeah, well,
He's a guy that put his arms around David Lynch and said, "This is my director for the Elephant Man."
yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was like, "What do you mean? It wasn't a comedy." He thought all of Lynch's movies were supposed to be comedies. I just didn't get it. I thought you were gonna say something.
No, I was gonna say another show like that was Hannibal.
Okay.
Hannibal definitely would have these moments where Will Graham was having these visions and you
Sure.
didn't know if they mean anything, or just like when you saw swirling colors, you're like, oh shit, man, shit.
I don't know what that is,
And
but
then
it
you
means
realize
something.
anytime red's in there, that's
know?
blood, and that's fucking blood, man. Like Brian Fuller just like opened his veins and like let it all out.
Yeah.
Man.
Lost is like that too, although Lost is a different animal a little bit. But you know,
Well,
rewatches.
Lost is a show you rewatch, just pause and then read everything on the fucking wall.
Right. You know, and then it's like, you know, you can get rewatch clarification, but that only gets you so far in the big story. And X-Files is one like that too, a little bit, where like, you know, the rewatchability of it gets you some clarification, but it's not like recontextualized anything. It's not like, you know, like you know, Mr. Robot does some of that, or Westworld does it, where it's like, oh, okay, like you might have seen it coming anyway, whatever that big twist or flip is, but it's meant to make you go, oh shit, that's what's been going on, and I didn't know any of that, so I gotta go back and like rewatch some episodes. So it's as much as I could say, like, you know, Battlestar Galactica is pretty good for like rewatch, because it's like, oh, okay, when you finally get the groove of what the deal is in certain ways, it's like, oh, let me go back now and rewatch that beginning stuff, so I come into it a little different.
See, that's a show I almost want to hunt down the DVDs, because evidently...
You want them?
You have
But
them?
Mr. Robot?
Was that?
Was it Mr. Robot?
No, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Evidently, Ronald D. Moore, like, as he was shooting, was just recording this podcast that ended up being all the commentary tracks.
Yep. And when I caught up and was watching it live, they used to put those podcasts online. So it was like, you know, 1-2 punch for him. Like, I got a little depressed when I eventually caught up, and I was like, oh, I have no bonus content now from him, because it's the same in 2 spots. And when I watched it live, I listened to it on the website, and then when I actually bought the DVDs, it was like, okay, like, you know.
Let me ask you a question about Mr. Robot. Did he ever play Styx as Mr. Roboto on that fucking show?
Oh, no.
No.
No, I never did that.
No, I don't think so.
I thought that might be the perfect opportunity
It's probably
to
too on the nose for that show.
resurrect it a little bit.
It's probably somewhere it's like
Mr. Rebato.
they probably look for a place every season, and it's like the only way it's going to come in is like when the last episode.
Well, it's also,
credits roll.
weird, because the character's so young. His reference point is the mid-'90s.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, there is that. There is that. But, you know.
I don't know.
A show,
I mean,
that's a show where they can bring that in from any angle.
True Blood would play like Zeppelin tunes at times. You know what I mean? I remember that. And
this is a show that doesn't.
That's
I don't know how much they play with music as other shows do.
No,
on Mr. Robot.
Well, because it's so much of an aesthetic.
Yeah,
you know, like
there's a lot of that going on, and I feel like that's the kind of thing you'd be more likely to get some symphonic thing coming over the beginning, and then like, you know, it's a long pull shot. Your character's tiny, way up there, doing a walk. Boom, Mr. Robot, full screen.
Yeah.
Like some crazy, like, you know, for no contextualization.
Well, it's like, and that is one of the fun things of that show is how are they going to show you the title card?
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
When is it going to come
When is the
up?
logo going to pop up? Because they always kind of have some kind of like, it pops up in some weird spot.
I haven't watched a single episode.
Yeah.
So no Sticks.
No.
Okay.
No sticks.
Just that's all.
Wait a minute. If there's sticks are in it, will that get you to watch it?
Well, if Yes was in it, then I would.
I think it's on
probably listen
Amazon
to the
Prime.
soundtrack.
I think it's on
It's
Amazon
on
Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yes.
We will show Jay the first episode immediately after the after show.
I'll watch it on my own time.
There you
I
go.
got
That's
enough
good.
shit
That's good.
to fucking read and
That's
watch.
good. We're gonna start giving out homework assignments.
Yeah.
around here.
Have you read those Parker novels? I gave
Dude,
you?
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I'm halfway ready to give them back to you because I know I'm not a reader most of the time, but I will read it upon your recommendation.
Yeah, I mean those things you can breeze through in about an hour each.
All right, I got his graphic novels to read first.
One thing at a time, Ed. All right.
All right, fine.
I
Because
don't
it's
know.
you,
What is
babe.
this? What is this? Why is it on my screen? How do I get it off? Thanks,
So
thanks, Mixler, for having that happen.
Is it time for emails?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like email-ish o'clock.
Yeah. What do you got this week? So now we're that show.
Oof. This is highbrow, high class. Only the best, pinkies out type entertainment, folks. You know, I'm drinking a Mike's Hard Watermelon Lemonade.
You pussy.
Lemonade. What are you drinking, Jim?
I'm drinking a Rolling Rock, the Deer Hunter beer.
Bear on a bear.
By the way, Bill, was that for me or you? That water for me or you?
You asked for water, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But I thought this was.
I put it too far away. Oh,
Yeah.
I did. It was like that was like directly in between the two of us.
Yeah, I was sure. Like, oh, did he pour that for himself, or was it? Oh no, he was being a nice guy.
Remember, you must keep your mind as pure as the water.
That's out there.
That's
so
a
long
Golden
the ice,
Child reference.
The ice smiled. The ice melted.
But it's still nice and cold.
It's too chilly.
So what did James say? Or Wesley? Ah, Wesley.
What is the first movie you saw that was based on written material? Like a book.
Previously written material, you mean?
Previously.
Oh, I was just going to say, they
It's
usually
all
put things
technically-
down
yeah.
on script first. So it's all
That's why I went in there with the shave.
Yeah, got that. It's a tough question, I think, though. What is the first movie you saw that was based on written material? So the first thing that you, I guess, knowingly knew was adapted from a book.
Well, you'd
kind
have
of
to
a
go back
thing.
to your Disney days as a kid.
Bible, the movie.
Pinocchio.
The Adventures of Jesus.
See, but that could mean anything, too. It can be based on a film that they
Yeah.
remade.
Well,
Yeah.
the first movie
Yeah.
I ever
The
saw.
Ten Commandments.
Wesley might start to clarify in the chat room.
Okay.
But,
The first movie I ever saw in theaters was The Rescuers Down Under,
okay.
which I don't know if it was directly based off a book. I think
Well,
this has gotta-
it's based on a spy novel. They just,
But before that,
Yeah.
Disney's will sometimes put shorts in front of their cartoons.
sure.
There was a short animated version of The Prince and the Pauper.
Okay.
Which is based on a Mark Twain novel.
I'm familiar with it.
Where you had two Mickeys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Mickey Mouse Prince of the Pauper.
Okay.
That was your first movie? That was like
Yeah.
1990.
1990.
Jesus. I was watching Goodfellas.
Although I
I was in the theater with Goodfellas.
remember being like 3 when I saw this. It must have been like a re-release or something. That's the first movie I remember seeing in
That's
theaters.
where John Candy does the
Well,
voice of the seagull or
it's
something,
the first
right?
movie you remember
The
seeing in
Albatross.
theaters that was based on a book or something previously written.
All right.
So the first movie you ever seen doesn't necessarily qualify. So what
Yeah,
do you-
but The Prince and the Pauper was based on a book by
Okay.
Mark Twain.
Okay.
So yeah. So the
Well, then I would have to say it was the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers in
I
'78.
mean, you could see movies on TV too, and they would have been written. You know what I mean? That would qualify as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just trying to.
Wesley's clarifying it in the chat room, but I can't seem to get the chat room.
All right, let me
open
see what he
for me.
said. Hang on.
I was thinking the first thing you might have
got this crazy
later found
pop-up.
out there was a book of, then maybe went back and read the book.
No, just anything that's ever been based on a book.
I watched The Exorcist
So James
first,
Bond.
and then I read the book.
Yeah, okay. Maybe like that. Did you ever have that happen? When was the first time you remember kind of doing that? Like seeing a movie and being like, oh, like I'm into this. Like, oh.
Probably
like-
James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, like.
Either James and the Giant Peach or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like one of those Roald Dahl
Get the
movies.
book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think,
Well, you know what? That's actually probably a good one to say because I saw Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
yeah.
when I was a kid, and that's based on a book. But I've seen so many Disney. I used to see so much Disney shit when I was a kid that was just on TV all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all based on books.
Right.
I mean, that was Disney's whole thing. They basically stole ideas and just retold them.
They did
You
not
know,
steal.
so-
They used stuff in public domain and then made sure it would never go back into public domain ever again.
Right. Locking that shit up in a vault. Okay, how about of movies based on written material? What do you think is best and worst at following that material for movies?
Well, we know Preacher sucks, but that's not a movie.
Yeah.
Material that doesn't measure up to the book. Though there's tons of that.
Yeah.
Well,
Where do you start?
I would say a movie that's actually very close to the book is Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I think that's a very faithful adaptation.
That is.
And I've one that I can remember being disappointed in was an HBO movie of Game Change, the one about the 2008 election.
Wow.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I didn't see that.
well, yeah,
Sarah Palin movie.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, that's the thing. The movie, it's all about Sarah Palin, and the book goes across the whole election. It
I gotcha.
starts in the primaries, and then goes in, and like the Palin stuff is just like the last third of the book.
Right.
And it's the best part of that book is the 4th chapter about John Edwards, when you realize how this guy was someone who everyone thought was this
guy fucks.
beacon of hope, and and it turns out this guy fucks, and the fact that this guy fucks means that this guy sucks, and it's this insider's view of how this one guy imploded.
Right.
I enjoyed that movie though. I actually thought it was pretty good.
I'll tell you one that was like really shitty. Tommy Knockers.
Okay.
Some Stephen King stuff is a little rough. I'll say that too.
Yeah. Tommy
Knockers
Knockers is a rough one.
It was a TV movie.
Isn't it like a sex romp?
No. It sounds like it though.
Oh, I'm thinking of Tomcats.
Whoa.
Yeah, with the exception of the original It, which doesn't hold up. Well, the first half holds up. The second half doesn't hold up at all.
Yeah.
We had that discussion.
Yeah, and that's been true since they fucking aired.
And the Stand is a little better than average, but that book, and I did read that. See, most of the books I've read are mostly Stephen King.
Right, me too. Me too.
Yeah, me too.
And The Stand is an incredible book, and I would
Amazing.
love to see
Insane.
that adapted into
Amazing.
some kind of
That should be a long form series where they just kind of
on
follow
HBO.
The book. Yeah.
Or Showtime or
Yeah.
Stars.
Right.
Yeah.
But you mostly, getting back to what I was saying, Tommy
Yeah,
Knockers and
sure.
Rose Red, these were like shit. Fucking,
I forgot they made Rose Red.
adaptations. The film adaptations are they fare better, I think.
Rose Matter. Was that it?
Doris
Claiborne?
Claiborne was
Claiborne.
Kathy Bates' movie.
Right. That wasn't
Rose
that
That
bad.
wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But, stuff that was just as good as the book, I think, Misery is a really great book.
Oh, yeah.
But I love that movie. You know what I mean? That movie.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Well, yeah, the movie
Yeah.
does stand on its own.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know.
But I think it's as strong a movie as it is a book.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though there's different things that going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some different things in the book.
Well, that's Kathy Bates too. Kathy Bates don't
Oscar-winning
sell that.
performance.
Yeah.
Oscar-winning
If
performance.
she don't sell that, then it don't work.
That was hello to her, man. That was
Yeah.
when she was on everybody's radar.
And she was around for 15 years.
Yeah.
Doing like character actor.
And from that
actor
on,
stuff.
she's a name.
Yeah.
Some say that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to be an expert in something. What thing do you think you might be an expert in? Besides wanking it. 10,000 hours. Doesn't seem like a lot. Well, I mean, it does sometimes when you say the number, but, when you clock your hours at work, all of a sudden it's like, oh, like how much, what does that equal out to? Like a year?
Well, I think we could say we got 2 expert movie viewers here at the very least.
Oh, at the very least. Well, here's the thing, too. I watched this whole thing, like, on PBS one day. I stumbled across it. I'm like, why has PBS got an infomercial? And it was one of those, like, I guess not completely robbing you kind of infomercial things, but it was this guy talking to, like, a room full of people about, like, how to be an expert. And it turns out, like, well, he's talking about being an entrepreneur in different ways. But one of these things that people do is, like, this, if they're an expert. Well, and then how do you turn that into something? So let's say, like, and how do you quantify being an expert, though? And it's like, there's no rule. So it's like, really, like, do you feel comfortable in saying that you're an expert in something, though? Like, so if, like, maybe comic books for someone like me, like, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, though. I'd say I'm knowledgeable. I wouldn't say I'm an expert. But working at great day job I got, I might have to say I'm an expert in certain things.
This
like,
guy that was talking,
Yeah.
it wasn't Jordan Belfort, was it?
No, I don't know. It was a while ago, so I don't know. Jordan wasn't on my radar. It might have been.
To put things in context,
Yeah.
if you worked 40 hours a week on something,
Okay.
it would take you 250 weeks to reach 10,000 hours.
Okay.
So how long have you been doing your
so
job?
we're talking approximately 5
years. About 5 years of,
Yeah.
of like a job.
That's easy because I've been doing something for 26 years.
Right. Yeah.
And that was being
Well,
a
I
video
guess then that
technician.
means I would be an expert at guitar, but not necessarily, saying when I say that, not necessarily a guitar player,
Right.
but like knowing guitar
Right.
overall.
And that's what
But-
yeah.
That still would have to leave room for someone else to be more of an expert than me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that's even like kind of was like at the heart of what this guy was saying. Like it's really about saying, when it comes down to it, it's like, do you feel like you are enough that if you were going to try and sell yourself based on that, that you could hold your own in most settings? That
Well,
this,
then I think I
most
have to
settings
say
that
that
this branding would put you into. that you want to get into. Like, as long as you feel like you could swim and not sink, then yeah, like, be confident in it and take it if it's yours. Like, if you really feel like, you could put out those business cards.
Well, that's good. That's actually very good advice, especially coming from an infomercial.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how much it was like infomercial, quote unquote, as much as it was like definitely a PBS, and it wasn't, Murder, She Wrote, or, some... the hoity-toity mysteries.
Right, but it also wasn't them mooching for money, right?
Right, exactly.
See, now you just said it,
Well, actually, you know what? It might have been. And it might have been part of something like, that was what would have happened in the break. Would have like, get Steve's 7-disc set on improving yourself and your business.
Right, because they're selling them so that they can get the money because he's giving it to them for free.
You see,
for the write-off.
Your point
in the promotion.
You want a pen?
Paper.
I'll make you say it.
Talking about like people that are speakers, motivational speakers, and people that speak in front of crowds. See, I'm not the world's best speaker, but I would love to. I love a crowd.
Oh yeah,
I will go right in front of a crowd.
No, we know. We can tell.
Yeah, we
So
definitely.
I wish that I was a much better speaker in front of crowds because I would eat that up.
I think you got it in you. I think you already got it in you. A guy like you got enough bounce and personality and
I would have to
kind of
practice.
energy. Yeah, you'd have to just get used to it.
It's all about confidence. Nothing else really matters.
Yeah.
I've spent over 10,000 hours coaching high school speech and debate, so I could probably help you.
See, because the thing is, like my friends.
What were you doing, math?
They said, well, I couldn't get out in front of 100 people and say,
that's
so,
his
no, I
expert.
would love that. I eat that up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting better, more used to it too myself. But it was when I went to school for design and we had to do presentations. I learned how to eat it, like that shit that hits you at the microphone and then it goes away. But I learned how to just eat it, like like fuck it, I am here, I have to talk. So I know I can speak clearly to a small group of people. This is no different. This is just this is not even a big group.
Right. It's almost like it's almost a reverse psychology where you have the crowd are more embarrassed to be in front of you than you are in front of the crowd. You know what I mean? And I'll just go and it does nothing for me.
As long as you
I love it. I'll embrace it.
Shit, you know
what I mean?
And then again, it's like not that it's great big things, but like doing make it fold it up smaller. So it'll bounce around in the cup.
I wish I was better at it.
Yeah.
Because I have no problems walking up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean. I know you got no fear, no shame kind of thing. And so it's like, it's like when I had to give a best man speech, and it was like, okay, But then
Me too. I did the same thing.
Rocking that and not even using my notes.
Nah.
And then eventually doing a little bit of the other thing. So eventually, when I actually married my friends, when I was did the ceremony for my friends, it was like nothing. It was like nothing.
Like I'm gonna do that now.
I know.
We have living parallel lives.
You're fucking following all my footsteps.
Gentlemen, you want to know the secret to public speaking?
Oh yeah. How about you, Master
okay.
Debater?
I'm going to give you words from a man that named Craig Kwasnicki. Handed down from
Bob's
years,
like he's making this shit
before I was even involved in speech and debate.
Okay, this is old school.
Blind Melon Chitlin over there.
Old school.
Don't bang dang.
Greatest pep talk I've ever heard.
Right, I'm sorry.
Guy walks in the room, looks around the whole team, and goes, "Gentlemen, I've been thinking about what it is we do, and I've come to the conclusion that forensics or public speaking is talking and moving your hands.
Oh yeah.
That's all it is. And if you fuck it up, I'll fucking kill you." And then he walked out of the
Sounds
room.
like something I would say to somebody.
Thanks, Coach. I'm gonna rock it now. All right.
So anytime
This is
you're
at Farrell High School?
yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah. So anytime you're ever in doubt,
Catholic school.
Catholic schools.
anytime you're ever in doubt or worry about making a public speech, just remember that. It's just talking and moving your hands.
That's it.
In Newark, the same speech is a gunshot.
Yeah. It does say a certain kind of thing. It does say a certain something.
Who cussed at my baby?
So Wesley wraps it up with, and if I don't see you, then good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thank you, Wesley.
Wesley. And then we jump into the next one here. We got from Chad Rose. Yo, Chad Lee.
My man.
Chadster.
You just got questions. No follow-ups here. Have you read the comic Plastic? I think I did read the first issue, and I put it back down. Yeah, I did actually. It's a fairly recent book from Image, I think. I forget who's on it, but it was like serial killer stuff, I think. And it just didn't. I saw the hook in the first issue, and I was like, yeah, not enough to keep me going.
I've smoked plastic.
Well, I probably have too. Well, speaking of drugs,
Wait, you can smoke plastic?
no, I mean like you can. No one does it on purpose. It's just a thing that happens in a series of events of like, a piece of plastic ending up in your shit. Or someone like actually rolling a joint and then like it won't seal and they're like 12. So they're like, okay, I'll put a piece of Scotch tape on it. Now that wasn't me, but that's a legend about this kid I know and his sister. So.
And some weed in a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
I thought like this was like glue, like this was some like magic drug that I wasn't made aware of.
The makeshift bongs of the 80s.
No, man.
Just stick to licking toads.
It's like if I was talking about Rush, you'd be like,
yeah,
what is that? That's a word I've never heard. Like,
Locker room.
Rush. Little jaws of Rush. You ever had new Rush?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Back in the day, someone had the idea that this shit, whatever it is, was okay to put in your locker. It would like get rid of the smell or whatever. But
is that what it was for?
That's what everyone in school used it for.
Okay.
Like in high school, when I was in school, that's like all the jocks had it for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why though, because I would always be like, well, why don't you just take the fucking socks home and wash them? Why are you wearing the same dirty ass socks week after week? And they get so fungified, you got to put Drano basically. In your locker room.
You describe it, Bob.
It's this stuff that is like formaldehyde.
So it comes in this little jar. Yeah. It looks like you ever see the little jars of lip balm that you can get?
Yeah.
Chicks have them all the time.
Or like a bottle of ink.
Yeah. Okay. It's like this little short well kind of a jar. Yeah. And it's just got this fucking shit in there. And you take a decent size sniff. Just inhale the fumes coming out of it, like you know how like nail polish remover or something like that. It's got you can just smell it in the room real quick.
Right. It's for like 30 seconds you feel like you're on the verge of passing out.
Oh my God, your head gets hot.
You get hot and lightheaded, and you feel like it's swelling up like a balloon.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, and then you sit there and you laugh as you coming out of it.
It's almost like it's
a little, and then that's
the only thing it's missing is like the high pitched voice from helium.
Helium, yeah.
It's almost like that lightheadedness you get from helium, but like hot. It's different than doing a whippet. It's like a super intense whippet.
Yeah.
It's basically because you're freezing out your brain. You're rushing all these chemicals, all this like your brain suddenly has like no oxygen in it. It's got all this other shit. So your brain's like.
It's like if you took like a rubber cement brush.
Yeah.
Dipped it in there and shoved it way the fuck up your nose. That's exactly what it is.
That's the
smell. Yeah. That is the smell.
But it is the smell.
Rubber cement.
That is the smell.
It is a rubber cement. It's like huffing that shit. But I didn't know that. I didn't really realize that, but that's a good call. I didn't think of that, but the rubber cement connection.
That's definitely a good call on that.
But anyway.
That's what it was.
I was trying to think of a way to describe it.
Yeah.
You learn something new every week on this show.
Every week on the show.
Rubber cement, baby.
This week's lesson. Rush.
Yeah, next week Bill will tell you about whippets.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Or just watch Nicolas Cage in Deadfall when he's sniffing the fucking glue and he's giggling. You remember that?
No, but that just felt like what he would be doing.
Go to 7-Eleven at 2 o'clock in the morning and watch the kids go to the refrigerator and take the whipped cream out and not turn it upside down and inhale. Like they open the valve and they inhale because the chemical that's in there gets you high.
Yeah, I see that on my way home from here.
Right, so
that's the thing where
three blocks up.
Dennis Leary talked about that in a special.
Yeah, sure. The whipped cream, or they get the little canisters, the little CO2 cartridges.
Yeah, so every once in a while, people who go out and buy whipped cream will get that one can that's already dead because someone
they don't realize. If Chad's still in the chat room, maybe he can rephrase this. Has anyone tested Pringles for cocaine? I have not tested Pringles for cocaine.
But you and I had a conversation about it.
It is like cocaine.
I've done the can.
Yeah, you've crushed it and snorted it.
And drank it.
But no, it is kind of crazy.
Yeah. I've used the can for a speaker with my phone.
There you go. That's handy. I've seen people do that.
I've used 2 of the pieces as duck lips.
Or use it as slide for slide guitar.
There you go.
There you go. I'll tap on the bottom sometimes, get that tinny sound. That
get a Rycooter kind of thing going.
What was your favorite trailer from SDCC? I think we talked about that earlier, actually.
Oh, Crossroads.
Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Thor is probably my favorite.
Yeah. Back to the trailers from San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Anything with a trailer that has Jeff Goldblum in it this year is wonderful.
You know, I'll say this. I'll make it easy. Like, there wasn't a trailer I don't think I saw during that run coming out of STC.
That
wasn't
Jeff
good.
Goldblum?
Well, I'm in them all. I'm in all of them.
Even the Star Trek.
That's what I do.
Even the Star Trek Discovery trailer.
Okay, I can take that
He's
back.
the
I can take that
Klingons.
back. I can take that back.
Jeff Goldblum's
I
and
can
he's the
take that
Klingon.
back.
That one Klingon you see, you know. The alien from the Black Lagoon.
If Jay and Ed came to a star rating understanding, would it open up a wormhole?
Probably.
I think you'd have to ask Captain Janeway.
Yes, Captain Janeway.
No, ask Han fucking Solo.
Get off my ship.
Well, but Han Solo still doesn't know that a parsec is a measure of an area of space and not a measure of speed.
Yeah, it's distance, I think.
Right.
Or
Well, Han
whatever.
Solo knows that.
No, he doesn't.
No,
He gets
no,
it
no.
wrong. That's
He
the
gets it
classic.
wrong.
That's the
That's the
classic
classic.
thing about Star Wars when he says, I did a Kessel Run in 3 point
Oh,
whatever parsecs.
12
all right,
parsecs.
sorry.
12
Yes.
parsecs. The whole
Right.
parsec is not what he thinks it is.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it just wasn't what George Lucas thought it was, and nobody else knew enough to catch it because they didn't know what it was either. Like, who the fuck knew before
It
you
was
said it?
like,
What the fuck a parsec was?
1976 when they were making the movie?
Yeah, he probably didn't even realize it was a real word.
They were like, we're making science fiction up as we go. So what?
I'm just making up things. I'm just making up things. Hey, yous guys, it's Steph.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hey.
Nice to hear you from all the way from Pennsylvania.
Ms. Arizona.
No, she's this is from Arizona. Hey, yous guys, I have a question for you. Who would win in a fight if Jedi Knights fought against King Arthur's Knights? But the Jedi have regular swords instead of lightsabers. That'll do it for me this week. Take care, fellas. Your pal Steph.
Oh, Jedi.
You want me to take
They still
this?
have- they still have
Yeah,
force
let me just
powers.
repeat the setup. If Jedi Knights fought against King Arthur's Knights, but the Jedis have regular swords instead of lightsabers,
It still would be Jedi Knights.
because they're still Jedis, right?
Because they're
The
it's
Jedi
the
mind-
acrobatics involved. They
And-
have
and the
fucking
Jedi mind trick
They
stuff.
have huge fucking like armor on them.
I'm glad you said that, because your hands look like you were going to say they got huge knockers.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah. Right? I thought he was, and they got huge. I was like, where's
Oh,
he
well,
going?
you know, hey.
I could have sworn it was going to be one of the 7 words you can't say on television.
Yeah, you can say them all here. Plus,
Exactly.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they can't maneuver because of the armor.
they're
And,
not as flexible and
and,
limber. And I think the whole Jedi, because you can do shit with your brain,
Right.
which they don't use enough in the
Yeah,
fighting.
basically
anyway.
the Jedi can walk up to them and go, "You've already lost."
Yeah,
swing,
exactly.
swing their hand in the air and walk away.
And that concludes Super Fight.
There you go. And that's a rappity rap on that fight there. Because Excalibur really doesn't do anything, right? Like, it's just a sword that's stuck in a stone.
Well, no, it's what makes him the King of England.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but besides that, it's not like,
Yeah, it doesn't do
it
anything.
doesn't shoot any lasers or nothing. It's not like it doesn't summon the team of Thundercats down from the mountain.
No.
Right. No. Doesn't turn him into like He-Man if he says the magic words and holds it to the sky.
But Excalibur is probably the best King Arthur film. I think we can agree to that.
Yeah, what I remember of it. I mean, I know it's visually really, really good.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for the Disney classic, The Sword and the Stone.
Of course you are.
Anything with
It's
a,
Disney.
but anything with some Vaseline on the filter is always really
Well-
on the screen is always really good.
Well, Star Wars had that.
Yeah, I know. It's greasy. But I think that that's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah?
Well, I don't know.
Is it?
Wrap it up. I'll take it.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
But see, like, if we wrap up now, Palmer will be happy.
Don't give me no Tom Jones. I'll go deep.
That's Fabulous
So you got
T-Birds,
something
Oh,
else we can
all
do
right,
for a few
Thunderbirds,
minutes
yeah.
to piss off Palmer?
Right.
which was a good band.
Yeah, which was a good band.
I think we're at the point now where Bob and I are having a conversation and Bill and Jay having a different conversation.
Yeah, this happens every time. Every now and then the show.
It happens all the
fractions.
fucking time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Even when Ed and I are in conversation, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah, well.
Dysfunction Junction.
See?
It's gonna be an explosion, baby.
Cash.
Cash. Trash.
Jesus Christ. All right,
That's right, boy.
I apologize first of all to anybody whose eardrums are blown out.
Oh, nobody's eardrums are blowing shit.
Well, let them speak for it in the chat room.
All right, let's
I mean,
hold on. Let's get in there.
Well, you
I'm
know,
sure Thomas Kirk will
they're
fucking
listening. They'll
say
respond.
something.
They'll reply to us. We got a couple people hanging out, and I'm sure
He'll
they'll be
say
like,
something right now.
I mean, maybe
I disagree with Jay.
because they're not listening on headphones. I mean, they might be,
They
but
love it. They love it.
Jay's bassy voice reverberates through my house.
Bass.
I got you on the living room stereo. Well, that's a podcast question that people ask on podcasts. How do you listen to the show? Do you listen to it online, on your headphones? Do you take it with you? Do you listen to it in the living room with your family, wife, and kids?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to read books on tape.
The second you paused on "take it," my mind filled it in with.
Do you
the
take
ass.
it with you? That was barely a pause.
Do you take it up the ass?
Only on Tuesdays.
The Wicked Theory podcast in your ass.
Up your ass.
Up your ass with the Wicked Theory podcast every Saturday, 7 to whatever.
Up your ass.
Jumping Jesus.
This is a family show, Bill.
It is? Shit, I can't tell. What does anybody saying in the chat room? I see Wesley's actually pulled up an article about
You forgot the
parsecs.
sign there, Ed. It says dysfunctional families only.
Yeah, well, that's probably the case. All right. I was going to sign off and then go into the after show mode. Are you aware of how the after show works, ladies and gentlemen? The after show is only available if you listen live
Unhinged.
or if you heard us drone on about Patreon earlier. You heard us explain to you that that's where you can find it after the fact. For $1 a month, it gets you all the back catalog. Of
Couple
like,
$3.
like 20 episodes, I think, right now. So 20-something, I think. If
The one that
if
you and I
not
did
more.
on there?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, people like it, you know. It's pretty good. All right, so, I think Bob already played us out. No, we're done. No.
Take us out, Bill.
Somebody! No, all right, so let's wrap it up for real. Thanks for listening. Stick around, listening live. We'll be back in a couple minutes. You're going to hear the DC TV report. You may or may not hear that with this episode when it gets posted. If you don't, just check out our feed. The DC TV report is sometimes tagged with the episode, but it's always posted separately. And that's how you find that. Jay, what are you doing? The dishes here?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Where can people find you, Jay? If they want to, converse.
If they want to converse with me.
Yeah.
I love William
Yeah.
at Jason Chickaleash on the Twitters.
Well, you could do that if you wanted to. You can change that whenever you want, that first half of the name.
Uncle Jay at Jason Chickaleash on Twitter.
There you go. I like it. I like that one better, actually. Ed.
The distance from the sun to an object that has a 1 arc second.
I think he's already gone.
And Bob, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
There you go. Bob, how about you?
The isosceles of the triangle and whatever.
No, that was Ed's bit. That was Ed's bit.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't ready.
I got you.
At Bob WTPC.
At Bob WTPC. And you can find me at Wicked Theory. You can find the show at wickedtheory.com. You can also find the show wherever good podcasts are given away for free. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music. Jay's going to choke on his beer. What is it, Jay? You had
Nothing.
We're safe. We're safe to roll it on out. All right, then. Ladies and
Billy, your mother's right.
Billy. Rob Belushi, what are you doing in my house? Billy, don't ask questions, Billy. Drink your orange juice.
It's got as much calcium as milk.
Billy, I'm feeling really depleted after last night. Hey, what's up, Kathy? Slaps around her ass.
Best commercial ever, or a runner-up.
One of. All right, Bob, take us out of here.
Podcast is heard live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern until whenever. Just go to mixler.com/wicked-theory. Mixler is MIXLR. Sign up to join the chat. Then click the follow button to get reminders whenever the show goes live. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever good podcasts are given away for free, and at wickedtheory.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/wickedtheory. There you can get the after show if you miss it live. God forbid. Plus other exclusive episodes. As always, send your emails to podcast@wickedtheory.com.